The first Faderhead album came out in 2006, and by the end of 2026, I will have released 12 full albums. So I decided that for every month in 2026, I'll explain the concepts and the lyrics behind one of the 12 albums. Today, my fifth album, World of Faderhead, which came out on March 15, 2012. For this album, we had the idea to shoot a bunch of 360-degree panoramic shots with my friend Klaus Friese, who is very good at doing these 360 panoramas. And so we shot one at Wave-Gotik-Treffen in Leipzig. Then we did one in a hotel, one in a bar, and another one in a recording studio. And we then put the music videos as clickable things into the 360 videos. So like in the hotel, there was a TV, and if you clicked on the TV, the music video would start. Simply because I thought, always thought that music is one thing, but you can make everything a little more interesting and immersive if you add things around the music. Song number 1. Fistful of Fuck You. This is the opener and also the most popular song from this record. It's mostly known for the music video, which shows me in 90s arcade game style fighting other bands from the dark electro scene as I'm trying to make my way to the club. The video was directed by Myer, who you might know from the band Klangstabil. He had connection to animators, and he also filmed the real live cut-in scenes so that we could pull this off at a doable price. Of course, a bunch of internet idiots thought there was beef between me and all the bands in the video because apparently people are unable to distinguish between fiction and reality. And what really happened was that I contacted every artist in the video. I sent them a preview of the song and I said, hey, I'm making a music video which will look like a 90s fight game where I would like you to be in it, but of course you cannot win because it's a Faderhead video, so I'll have to win. And 100% of the people I asked were excited to do it because back then in 2012 there was no AI and a video like this was pretty special. So no, there was no hate with any of the musicians that I fight in the video. I mean, it would not even be legal to use someone's name and image without their consent. Musically, the song was made in a 10-song game. This is a creative exercise where I have 12 hours to write 10 song ideas. And I do this maybe once or twice a year. I set a timer to 1 hour and I have to finish an idea in 1 hour. And then no matter how far I get, the next idea starts with a new hour. So with eating and taking a walk around the block, I usually get, 10 to 11 demo ideas. Not full songs, demo ideas in those 12-hour games. And Fistful of Fuck You was one of these ideas. The original demo title was Front Row Fight Club, but I do not remember why. As you can hear, I yelled Front Row Fight Club instead of Fistful of Fuck You, and the Annihilate was already in there. I don't remember anymore how I came up with the Fistful of Fuck You line, but it's definitely a good one. Number 2, Older Now. This is a song that had the dreaded dubstep wobble. In the early 2010s, Skrillex and others made the metallic bass wobble popular, and of course I could not resist to use it. Mainly because I knew it would piss off the haters. I just liked it when used sparingly, and it sounded heavier and more modern than most of what the so-called harsh bands from the goth electro scene were doing at the time.
This sort of thing has cropped up before, and it has always been due to human error.
The intro sample of This Sort of Thing Has Cropped Up Before, and it's always been due to human error. That's from the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey, and for some reason I did not re-speak it. Usually it's not smart to use the original samples for movies because of copyright reasons. but I guess I must have forgot. I don't know. Human error right there. Can't get more human error than this. The song itself is about being depressed and confused and watching time run by as you do nothing while you come up with excuses why you're doing nothing, which is not a good state to live in. The music video was shot at the late Florian Sikorsky's Marathon Studios, and it features Mark Akaripane, Sean Mirez, my then girlfriend Michelle, and Klaus Friese, who was the awesome photographer who did the 360-degree panoramas. The song is much, much catchier than I remember. I am actually pleasantly surprised. Number 3, Join Us. This is a typical 2012 Faderhead club track, and I can honestly say that nobody else sounded like that at the time, mostly because of 4 things. Number 1, my nasal voice, which was very distinguishable.
She looked at me with a smile full of evil.
Number 2, I had storytelling lyrics.
Friday night playtime starts off the storyline.
Number 3, the song structure was usually verse, chorus, and not, techno build up throughout. And number 4, I wasn't afraid to use new sounds that were rarely used in the scene, like the dubstep metallic wobble. This is another one of those songs that had very clear, this is what happened type story lyrics about a night out as it was back then. And the younger non-German crowds really liked that. I specifically mentioned younger and non-German because most of the Germans didn't understand the lyrics, and most of the older crowd didn't like them because they were too real and not poetic enough. And of course, for them, poetic meant the most overused words in children's rhymes, like, I don't know, the darkness in me is all that I see, the clouds and the rain, I feel this pain, and I'm not even fucking kidding.
She said, "Join us."
My favorite lyric in this one is, the night was a blur of drinks, drugs, and memory gaps. We got out the club with eyes like Google Maps.
The night was a blur, the drinks, drugs, and memory gaps. We got out the club, eyes like Google Maps.
This was because Google Maps are colorful and very chaotic looking, which is a mental and visual state that all party folks definitely can remember. The demo title for Join Us was called Cyber Tribe, which was inspired by an old Stuck Mojo shirt that I wore all the time back then, and that had Cyber Tribe written on the back somewhere. I think I bought the shirt in 1996, and I still had it in 2011, so it lived for a long time. Number 4, Inside of Me. This is the first ballad on this album, although, it's pretty noisy and not super slow, so I'm not sure I would really consider it a ballad. The song is mainly about dealing with the fact that when I wrote it in 2011, it was kind of very difficult to figure out who to trust, because most people I knew were goth scene people, and there was like always an endless amount of he said, she said bullshit going on behind my back, which at some point made it very problematic to be real with people. It's interesting to note that along with going to therapy, the decade of crap that was dumped on me back then made me much more clear on who I am and what I care about now. So that's definitely a win. Inside of Me was the third song we shot a video and a 360 panorama for. Klaus Friese came in before we started shooting to take the panoramic 360 photos, And then he left because the hotel room was so small that there was no point in him hanging out at all. The video was a super low budget thing done at Motel 1 at Reeperbahn here in Hamburg, with my friend Kurak as the blonde girl and Sean Merez operating the camera. I think the total cost was $80 for the room and a bottle of champagne for Kurak. I don't know. Because luckily I know how to edit videos and I had the camera, so it didn't cost more than that. As always in art and music, if you don't make things happen yourself, nobody will do it for you. Number 5, Swedish Models and Cocaine. This is probably the second most popular song from the album and definitely my personal favorite.
Hey ho, here we go. One more night, one more show.
It's a completely real song about touring and missing your girlfriend. When I wrote this in 2011, I was dating a girl from Sweden who was also a model. And one weekend, the Lord Marco Visconti and I, we were sitting in a backstage room in Dublin, Ireland, with too much time until the show and only Guinness beer, which I personally don't like.
Backstage cold, can't find drinks. Tag the walls with Sharpie ink.
So after we did an interview with a web magazine, I said, man, you know what I would really like now? A Swedish model, my then girlfriend, and some cocaine.
All I want for me today is Swedish models and cocaine.
We then had a good laugh, but I've always had the knack for noticing interesting titles or lyric lines when they come up. And I also have had the habit of saving song ideas in my phone ever since I had a smartphone. So I wrote this down and made the song pretty much the next week, after coming back from playing the show. The rest of the lyrics are 3 verses of normal tour stuff that happens and that everyone who played shows internationally has experienced many times.
Up early, plane is late. Wait for hours at the gate. Middle seat, I can't sleep. Crushed by man with large physique.
We still play the song live at all the non-festival Faderhead shows, and it always gets one of the best crowd reactions. And it's very interesting how a crowd of people who mostly don't do coke gets really excited to yell, all I want for me today is Swedish models and cocaine.
All I want for us today is Swedish models and cocaine!
It always cracks me up every time we play it.
Sometimes I run, sometimes I lose. I'm not a robot.
Number 6, Not a Robot. This is one of the songs that I really would like to redo because it starts out really cool, then the verses are cool and interesting, and then the chorus just sucks. It's really terrible. The vocals are not well sung, the synth arpeggio notes are just badly chosen, and the transition from verse to chorus is not very good.
Sometimes I run, sometimes I lose. I'm not a robot.
I think I used the stutter edit plugin on this one for all the stutter effects, which I really liked back then. And except for the chorus, I think the song is very interesting. Lyrically, it's me saying, hey, I am human too, and I think that's pretty obvious. Number 7, Sick City. This is another song that has good ideas and not so good execution. My vocals pretty much ruined the whole thing. I really don't remember what on earth I was doing back then, but of course, when you are the only person working on the music, you get no pushback from, other band members or producers saying, bro, this is not good enough. The beat is a strange mixture of harsh electro lead synth and, slidey EBM bass, which works okay, but really dates, the production to the early 2010s. Lyrically, this is about finding a home in places that, are not normal and maybe not conventional. Places where normal people would say, this is too weird, are you insane? That's why I sing In Hell, Insane, Sick City Rules Today. When 1 + 1 is 3, I found a home for me. Number 8, Nothing for Nothing. This is a song about being in a relationship with someone who doesn't love you back and, realizing that all the efforts you put in won't make anything better.
It's so dark, only the lights of the cars illuminate the room.
The lyrics are pretty easy to understand, I think. The chorus is very catchy, and the whole song has this mixed vibe between super sadness and underlying beauty, even though it's about a time and a person that I'd rather forget.
My heart is turned after all this time, all the fights, after all, there's nothing left of us.
Number 9, Watching Over You featuring Daniel Myer. This song features guest vocals by my friend Daniel Myer, who you know from How Job, Covenant, and many other projects. Thematically, this is the total opposite of the previous track, Nothing for Nothing, because here I am singing about my then girlfriend who had just moved to Hamburg from London. It's basically me saying, hey, don't worry, everything will be good.
Although it becomes much like the sun.
Daniel sang the whole song, and I then edited the vocals so it would be a back and forth. From today's point of view, I wish I had let him sing the whole song. But since I was emotionally very invested in the lyrics back then, I felt it would be wrong if he sang what I had written about my girlfriend.
When I pray, and sleep is pain, you know that I'll be here, watching over you.
That's also why my vocals are the clean ones, and he is singing the radio voice with the reverb. Number 10, I Got My Bass Back featuring Shaolyn. This has been one of the most popular tracks from the world of Faderhead, and it's also what's played in the beginning of the Fistful of Fuck You video when I come into the bar. In the years before that, I had produced the songs Face Down and More Bass in All Frequencies for Shaolyn, and we decided to feature her on one of the more fun, clubby tracks on that album. I don't remember if there were any other plans for putting out more Shaolyn music, but I always like to have guest singers to make the album more, varied and interesting. Plus, I just liked working with my friends. There are a number of YouTube comments from people who have heard this song being played at, Halloween horror nights at Universal Studios in Hollywood. So it seems as if there is a Faderhead fan working there, but I don't know anything about that. So that's an interesting tidbit. The only lyrics for this song are, "This machine has no brain, use your own."
This machine has no brain. This machine has no brain. This machine has no brain. Use your own.
A lot of people say this perfectly encapsulates what should be written on screen, every time we use ChatGPT, and I absolutely agree. But of course, back then there were no large language models or, publicly accessible AI when I wrote that song. This is just me trying to write something that isn't typical "the machine is taking over the world" lyrics that many people were writing at that time. I also noticed that as social media was getting more and more popular, people seemed to have forgotten how to use their brains online. This is basically me saying, hey, I actually like you in real life, but if I read your social media profile, you seem like a total idiot. Which coincidentally is why I removed all my Facebook friends during that time and stopped participating in social media as a private person. Of course, I still had the public Faderhead profile. All in all, I think the song is fine as it is, but from today's point of view, it could just be heavier and darker. Maybe it's time to do a new version of this. Number 12, Ballad of the Weak. This is a song about a friend of mine who was single for something like 10 years and would always fall in love with the wrong women and, would always remain friend-zoned.
No, this is not my heart. I'm just holding it for my friend.
This song was very purposely produced, even though I'm sure people probably don't notice it. First, there is a stick sound representing a ticking clock to signify his endless time waiting. During the chorus, when the lyrics say, "I will let you break my heart," I purposely chose synths that sound to me like someone is, screaming in utter pain, which is why the note pitch goes up. The song is called Ballad of the Weak because my friend was always unable to be strong and move on, even though he knew there was only going to be disappointment waiting for him. Unlike the previous concept album, Black Friday, this is once again me just writing songs and putting them together. Back then my thinking was, I want to express how I felt over the past year because that's what art and music is all about. And that's why the album cover is my head split open with a world inside of it. Back then, I think I wrote a little over 60 demo ideas and picked what I felt were the best ones. Of course, from today's point of view, I think I could do much better, but I will say that every time, probably one day after I finished an album and it's sent off to Spotify or the pressing, but I'll say the same thing. Oh shit, I could have done this way better. By the way, a little trick for those of you who also release music. If you work inside of your music software and you play the song, it will sound different compared to when you render the song as a WAV or MP3 and then you play it in rendered form. This has absolutely nothing to do with the actual sound of the files, but everything with how your brain perceives an MP3 as a finished file, while the open project in your DAW is, psychologically still a work in progress. And that makes a true difference when listening. The same thing is true if you listen to a song on your own compared to when you play it for someone. Once you play it for someone who's sitting right there, you will notice all the problems immediately. It will be painful how much too long your intro is and how boring your last chorus is, etc., like all these things, because you finally experienced the song with some empathy for the listener. And you are also worried about what the listener will think about your song, or even worse, about you because you wrote it. So if you release songs, do both of these things. Listen as rendered file and play it for others. It will help. I hope you enjoyed this track-by-track commentary, and if you did, you can also watch the other ones for my other albums.